The roar of the crowd at Camp Nou Stadium crashed like waves against the concrete walls, but Paisley Harlan couldn't hear it over the pounding in her chest. She was 12, all gangly limbs and borrowed shin guards, standing on the sidelines as her mother's voice sliced through the chaos. "Dig deep, kid. You're a Harlan. Act like it." Coach Elena Harlan, legend of women's soccer in the States, had dragged her family across the Atlantic to Barcelona 2 years back, chasing a gig with a semi-pro team that promised glory in the sun-drenched streets of Catalonia. But glory for Elena meant cleats on grass, not the soft slap of ballet slippers Paisley hid under her bed. That night after the game, Paisley's first goal, a fluke ricochet off a defender's knee. Elena hoisted her daughter onto her shoulders like a trophy, the team's cheers echoing off the Gothic Quarter's spires. "This is your blood, Mija," Elena whispered, her Texas drawl thick with pride, eyes gleaming under the stadium floodlights. "Soccer's in us. It's what makes us unbreakable." Paisley nodded, forcing a grin, but her fingers itched for the secret ribbon she'd tucked into her sock, a stolen swatch from the ballet studio down the Ramblas where she'd snuck in during lunch breaks, mesmerized by the girls who floated like ghosts in tulle. Back home in their cramped apartment overlooking the port, with the salty tang of the sea sneaking through the balcony doors, Paisley waited until her mother's snores rattled the thin walls. Elena, widowed young and rebuilt from ashes into a coaching powerhouse, slept like she coached, fierce, unyielding. Paisley slipped into the living room, the floorboards creaking under her tiptoes, and unfurled a faded poster she'd printed from the library computer. Dancers arched against a stormy sky, bodies defying gravity in a way soccer never could. She traced the lines with her finger, heart swelling with a forbidden ache. "One day," she breathed to the empty room, "I'll be that free." By 14 the charade was cracking. Elena had enrolled her in the local academy La Masia Light, where scouts from Real Madrid and Barca eyed the American import with her mother's pedigree. Paisley scored hat tricks in training, her feet a blur of inherited fury, but each goal tasted like ash. "You're a natural pious," Elena would say, ruffling her daughter's sweat-matted curls, oblivious to the way Paisley's gaze drifted to the harbor, where cruise ships glittered like distant dreams. The betrayal gnawed at her, lying to the woman who'd crossed oceans for her, who'd bandaged skinned knees and whispered stories of her own glory days on the pitch in Austin, before cancer stole Dad and left them adrift. It started with a flyer, crumpled in the bottom of her backpack. Ballet Juvenil de Barcelona, additions open. Pinned to a corkboard in the school courtyard, amid graffiti of soccer stars and protest slogans against the tourists flooding the city. Paisley tore it free before anyone saw, her pulse racing like she just dodged a slide tackle. That afternoon after practice, she biked to the old theater in El Raval, the air thick with the scent of paella from street vendors and the faint rot of the Barri Gotic's hidden alleys. The studio door was ajar, spilling piano notes into the narrow street like an invitation. Inside, mirrors lined the walls, reflecting a dozen girls in various states of stretch and sigh. The instructor, Madame Leclerc, a wiry Frenchwoman with a bun like a coiled spring, eyed Paisley up and down. "You dance?" she asked, her accent clipping the words like scissors. Paisley shook her head, throat dry. "No. But I want to." Madame's lips quirked. "Athletes build strong legs. We'll see." She thrust a pair of worn point shoes at her. "Bar. Now." The first ply was agony, muscles screaming from the morning sprints, but then came the lift, the way her body elongated, untethered from the earth's pull. For an hour, Paisley forgot the grass stains on her knees, the weight of Elena's expectations. She was air, she was light. When Madame clapped the class to a close, Paisley lingered, unlacing the shoes with reverent hands. That's when she saw her. A girl packing her bag in the corner, black hair falling like ink over one shoulder, skin glowing warm under the fluorescent hum. "First time?" the girl asked, voice soft as sea glass. Paisley startled, heat flooding her cheeks. "Yeah, felt like drowning, but good drowning." The girl laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a sirocco. "I'm Everly. Been here since I was 6. You'll get it, the pull. It's like the sea here in Barcelona. It drags you under if you fight it." She extended a hand, slim and callous from ribbons and rails. Paisley took it and something shifted, a spark in the dim light that made the mirrors feel too close, too revealing. Everly was the daughter of expats too. a painter mom from Seattle who'd fallen for a Catalan fisherman, trading rainy evergreens for olive groves. They met twice a week after that, Paisley fabricating study groups to cover her absences. Elena, buried in scouting reports and team drills, barely noticed the extra flush in her daughter's cheeks, or the way she hummed Tchaikovsky under her breath while folding laundry. "You're glowing, kiddo," Elena said one evening over gazpacho. The balcony doors opened to the hum of Vespa traffic below. "That fire in your eyes, it's the pitch calling. Big tournament next month. You in?" Paisley swallowed the lie like bitter herbs. "All in, Mom." But nights blurred into stolen afternoons at the studio, where Everly taught her the secrets of the arabesque, their hands brushing in corrections that lingered a beat too long. "Breathe into it," Everly murmured once, her palm flat against Paisley's back, steadying a wobble. The touch seared, innocent yet electric, awakening a hunger Paisley couldn't name. Barcelona pulsed around them, the gaudy swirls of the Sagrada Familia mocking her straight-laced world, the midnight churros from street carts fueling late-night confessions on the beach at Barceloneta. "My mom's all soccer all the time," Paisley admitted one night, toes digging into cool sand as fireworks popped over the water for La Mer's festival. "She thinks it's my destiny." Everly tilted her head, stars catching in her dark eyes. "And you? What's yours?" Paisley looked out at the black waves, foam whispering secrets. "This. You. Us maybe." The words hung fragile as sea foam, and Everly didn't pull away. Instead she leaned in, their shoulders touching, a silent pact sealed by the salt-stung air. The first fracture came subtle, like a hairline crack in porcelain. Paisley was 15 now, taller, her body a taut wire between worlds. On the field, she was Elena Harlan's shadow, fierce, unerring, drawing whispers from coaches who saw echoes of the legend in her slide tackles and curling free kicks. Off it, in the shadowed wings of the ballet theater, she was Everly's mirror. Their duets in the empty practice room a language of glances and grazes. "Your poetry out there," Everly said after a pas de deux that left them breathless, foreheads pressed together in the afterglow of effort. Paisley's heart stuttered. Poetry was a far cry from the brute poetry of goals Elena praised. They'd carved out rituals. Tuesdays at the studio, followed by Helledew from a gelateria in the Bourne district, where they'd perch on ancient stone benches and dissect nutcracker variations. Everly dreamed big, Joffrey School maybe, or a company in New York, where the lights burned brighter than Barcelona's tourist glow. "We could go together," she'd say, licking mango sorbet from her spoon, eyes alight. "You and me against the world." Paisley would nod, but doubt coiled in her gut like overtight laces. Elena's world was smaller, fiercer. The local league championship, a contract with a European club. "You're my legacy, Pius," her mother had said recently, over a dinner of fidua, the saffron-scented noodles a nod to their adopted home. "Don't let this city soften you. Fight for it." Softness. The word stung because with Everly, Paisley felt anything but soft, alive, electric, seen in ways the roar of the crowd never achieved. Their first real kiss happened on a rainy afternoon in the studio's alcove, thunder rumbling over the Calcerola hills like distant applause. Madame Leclerc had cancelled class for a leaky roof, leaving them alone with the scent of rosin and rain-damp wood. "Show me that lift again," Everly teased, but when Paisley scooped her up, strong soccer legs making it effortless, Everly didn't come down right away. Their breaths mingled, hesitant, then urgent, lips meeting in a brush that deepened into something seismic. It was chaste, that kiss, fueled by the ache of hidden selves, but it reshaped everything. Afterward, tangled in each other's arms on the bar mat, Everly traced Paisley's jaw with a fingertip. "I've wanted that since the first ply." Paisley laughed, shaky, the world tilting. "Me too. But Mom. God, she'd kill me." Not for the girl, not exactly. Elena had always preached grit over gender. But for the betrayal of the cleats, the abandonment of the pitch that had defined her life. They kept it secret, a fragile bloom in Barcelona's labyrinthine streets. Stolen moments in the labyrinth of Parc de la Ciutadella, where parrots squawked from palm fronds and fountains bubbled like confessions. Picnics with Jaman and Manchego, Everly sketching Paisley's profile in a worn notebook while the sun dipped behind Montjuic. "You're my muse," Everly whispered once, charcoal smudging her fingers. Paisley blushed, pulling her close. "And you're my escape." But escapes have borders. The tournament loomed, Elena's team and Paisley's, vying for a spot in the nationals. Practices stretched into evenings, leaving Paisley bone-tired, her calves screaming from demi-points attempted in secret. One night, after a brutal session where she'd nutmegged the goalie twice, Elena cornered her in the locker room, the fluorescent buzz harsh against the tile. "What's eating you, kid? You're distracted. Like your head's in the clouds." Paisley's duffel sagged at her feet, heavy with point shoes disguised in gym clothes. "Just tired, Mom. School's kicking my ass." Elena's eyes narrowed, that coach's instinct flaring. "School? Or some boy pulling your focus? I was your age once, Pius. Crushes come and go, soccer stays." The assumption landed like a misplaced pass, twisting the knife. Paisley forced a chuckle. "No boys, promise. Just me versus the books." It bought time, but guilt festered. Everly noticed, of course. Her quiet perceptiveness a bomb and a blade. "You're fading," she said during a rehearsal for the studio's end-of-year showcase, where Madame had paired them for a duet from Giselle. Paisley faltered in a jeté, landing off balance. "Talk to me." Under the studio's vaulted ceiling, with the ghosts of past dancers whispering in the drafts, Paisley confessed. "She's building this future for me, Ev. One I don't want. But telling her feels like shattering her." Everly cupped her face, thumbs brushing away unshed tears. "You're not shattering anything. You're choosing you. We choose together." The showcase was a fortnight away. A small affair in the theater's black box space, but to Paisley, it loomed larger than any championship. She choreographed their piece in stolen hours, a contemporary twist on longing, bodies weaving through projected shadows of crashing waves, symbolizing the pull between duty and desire. Everly moved like liquid silk, her extensions flawless, drawing murmurs from the advanced class. Paisley Rahr poured her turmoil into each step, the betrayal of her double life fueling the fire. Elena meanwhile ramped up the pressure. Scouting reports trickled in. A Barcelona youth selector had praised Paisley's predatory instinct. Dinners became strategy sessions, maps of opposing formations spread across the kitchen table like war plans. "This is it, Mija," Elena said one night, her voice thick with rare vulnerability. "Your dad would have been so proud. He always said you had my fire and his heart." The mention pierced. Dad, gone 5 years now, his photo on the mantel showing a man with Paisley's green eyes, cheering from the sidelines of her pee-wee games. Guilt doubled, tripled. How could she honor him by walking away? The crack widened the week before the showcase. Paisley twisted her ankle in training. A minor sprain from overextending on a crossover run, but Elena fussed like it was career-ending. "Rest it. No heroics." Ironic, since heroes didn't hide. That afternoon, hobbling to the studio on crutches borrowed from the team physio, Paisley found Everly waiting outside, a thermos of chamomile in hand. "Heard about the ankle. Sit." She guided Paisley to a bench in the plaza, the scent of jasmine from nearby planters mingling with the harbor's brine. They talked for hours, the sun sliding toward the sea, painting the city in oranges and pinks. Everly shared her own fractures, her mother's disappointment when she chose dance over marine biology, the fisherman's gruff acceptance that masked deeper worries. Families bend, Pius. They don't always break. But as dusk fell, a text buzzed Paisley's phone. Elena demanding her whereabouts. "Home now. We need to talk formations." Paisley stood, wincing. "I have to go." Everly rose too, pulling her into a hug that pressed their hearts close. "Promise me you'll fight for this, for us." Lips met briefly. A vow against the encroaching night. "I promise." But promises are fragile as first snow, and Barcelona's winds were shifting. The showcase night arrived like a storm front, humid air thick with anticipation and the faint ozone of impending rain. The Teatre del Raval, a jewel-box venue tucked in the Bari's maze, buzzed with families in their Sunday best. Catalan grandmas in mantillas, expat dads clutching programs like lifelines. Paisley, backstage in a whirlwind of pins and powder, felt her stomach not tighter than her corset laces. Her ankle throbbed under the wrap, a dull reminder of divided loyalties, but adrenaline, and Everly's steady gaze from across the dressing room, kept her upright. "You look like a vision," Everly whispered, adjusting Paisley's tiara, her fingers lingering at the nape. The costume was ethereal. Ivory chiffon over leotards, evoking sea nymphs caught in a tempest. Paisley's auburn waves were pinned with shells, her freckles dusted with stage glow. Everly, in mirrored attire, seemed born to it, her olive skin radiant, black hair braided with silver threads that caught the vanity bulbs like stars. Their eyes locked, a silent "we've got this" passing between them, deeper than words. Front of house, Elena fidgeted in her seat, row 3 center. She'd been baffled by the invite, tucked into Paisley's gym bag from a school friend, but curiosity won over suspicion. Ballet, huh? Like that Black Swan flick? She joked on the drive over, weaving through traffic clogged by festival revelers. Now, program in hand, she scanned the bios. Paisley Harlan and Everly Voss in Tides of the Heart. Choreography by students. Harlan. Her daughter listed like some thespian. A prickle of unease stirred, but she shoved it down. Kids experimented, soccer would reel her back. The curtain rose on the first acts. Tiny tots in Swan Lake tutus, teens tackling Firebird with fiery abandon. Elena clapped politely, her mind drifting to tomorrow's drills, the championship semis where Paisley's speed could clinch it. Then the lights dimmed to indigo, waves projected on the cyclorama crashing in sync with swelling strings. 2 figures emerged from mist, tentative at first, then bold. Paisley and Everly, entwined in a duet that told of pursuit and pull. It was raw, unpolished genius. Paisley lifting Everly in a fish dive that arched like a breaking wave. Everly's leg extending in a pinch that drew gasps. Their bodies spoke what voices couldn't. The agony of choice, the terror of touch. A fouette spin from Paisley, Everly catching her mid-whirl, their palms pressing as if to merge souls. The audience leaned forward, caught in the tide. Elena froze, recognition dawning like a foul. That was her girl's fire. Not on grass, but here in this impossible grace. And the partner. The way Everly looked at Paisley, not as a dancer, but as a lifeline. Intermission hit like a halftime whistle. Elena bolted backstage, badge from her coaching days granting passage through the flustered ushers. Paisley. The dressing room door banged open, mirrors multiplying her fury. Girls scattered like startled doves. Paisley, still in costume, shell tiara askew, whirled from the mirror. Everly stood sentinel beside her, chin lifted. "Mom," Paisley started, voice a thread. "What the hell is this?" Elena's Texas twang sharpened to a blade, gesturing at the gossamer ruins. "Ballet? Sneaking around like some rebel? We've got semis in 3 days." The room hushed, Madame Leclerc hovering like a referee. Paisley stepped forward, chin matching her mother's. "This is me, Mom. Not your shadow. I love it, the freedom, the everything." Elena's laugh was bitter, eyes flicking to Everly. "Freedom? This is a phase, kiddo. Like that goth crap in middle school. Soccer's your shot, our shot. For your dad, for us." The invocation of ghosts hit low. Paisley's resolve wavered, tears pricking. "It's not a phase," Everly interjected, voice steady as a metronome. "Paisley's brilliant. You saw it out there." Elena's gaze snapped to her, assessing the poised stance, the unspoken claim in those dark eyes. "And who are you?" "The ringleader." Suspicion laced the words, maternal instinct flaring at the intimacy she'd glimpsed. Everly didn't flinch. Her friend. Her partner. The pause hung heavy, loaded. The second act called. Ushers herded Elena out, but the damage pulsed. On stage, the duet fractured. Paisley's steps faltered, a lift dipping too low, Everly compensating with a grace that masked the tremor. Off stage, Elena seethed, program crumpled in her fist. Betrayal burned. Not just the dance, but the secrecy, the alternate life blooming under her nose. Barcelona, with its seductive sprawl, had seduced her daughter away. After bows, thunderous applause, flowers at their feet, Elena waited in the lobby, arms crossed like a defensive line. Paisley approached, Everly a step behind, the night's high souring. "We need to talk. Home. Now." The drive was silence, punctuated by wiper blades slashing rain from the windshield. Elena gripped the wheel, knuckles white. "How long, Pius? How long have you been lying?" 2 years, Paisley muttered, staring at the blurred neon of Passaic de Gracia. "It started small. Then it became everything." "Everything." Elena's voice cracked. "What about us?" I moved us here for you to give you the world on a silver ball. And you throw it for twirls. It's not throwing. It's choosing. Paisley turned eyes fierce. You chose soccer after Dad. Saved you. This saves me. The apartment door slammed like a red card. Elena paced the living room. Trophies from her Austin days glinting accusingly. Saves you from what? Being great? From honoring him. She jabbed at Dad's photo. He dreamed of you on that field, Pius. With me coaching him, cheering. Tears spilled now, hot and unbidden. Dad wanted me happy. Not this pressure cooker. The words escaped a foul shot. Elena recoiled as if struck. Pressure? I gave you everything. But beneath the roar, vulnerability cracked through. Elena's own ghosts, the grief she'd funneled into cleats, now mirrored back. Everly's text lit Paisley's phone. You okay? Call me. She wanted to crave the anchor, but Elena's shadow loomed. Go to bed, her mother said finally, deflated. Semis tomorrow. We're not done. Paisley retreated to her room, balcony doors ajar to the storm's hush. She texted Everly a heart emoji, then curled under covers, the ache in her ankle nothing to the rift in her chest. Outside, lightning forked over the sea, illuminating the Sagrada's unfinished spires, a monument to dreams half-built. The next morning dawned gray, rain sluicing the streets. Elena was all business at breakfast. Protein shakes, tactical notes. Focus, Mija. Shake it off. But Paisley's mind replayed the duet's crescendo, Everly's hand in hers. At the field under slate skies she played like a ghost, mechanical passes, a goal that felt hollow. The team won, advancing, but Elena's praise rang tinny. Good hustle. But where's the fire? That night, alone in the apartment, Elena at a post-game debrief, Paisley met Everly at their beach spot. Waves gnashed like accusations. They sat knee to knee, hoodies zipped against the chill. She hates it, Paisley said, voice small. Hates me, maybe. Everly pulled her close, chin on her shoulder. She loves you too much to hate. Give her time. Their kiss was salt-tinged, desperate. A buoy in the undertow. But as they parted, Paisley's phone buzzed. Elena home early, voicemail terse. We need to fix this. Before it breaks us. The breaking had already begun. Weeks blurred into a tense détente, Barcelona's relentless sun mocking the chill in the Harlan home. Elena doubled down on training regimens, adding hill sprints up Montjuic's pine-scented paths, where the city's panorama stretched like a taunt, freedom below, duty above. Paisley complied, her body a vessel for muscle memory, but her spirit wandered to the studio, where Everly waited with patient eyes and playlists of Debussy. You're splitting yourself, Everly said during a stolen lunch in the Gothic Quarter's shadowed patios, tapas untouched between them. It'll tear you apart. Paisley poked at her patatas bravas, steam curling like doubts. I know. But quitting soccer now? Mom's team needs me for nationals. And it's part of me, too. The truth stung. The field's raw thrill, the camaraderie of sweat-soaked huddles. Ballet was soul, soccer sinew. Everly nodded, but hurt flickered. Unspoken fear that Paisley would choose the pitch, leave her adrift. The betrayal deepened mid-season. A knife twist neither saw coming. Elena, ever the strategist, had hired a private eye, not for infidelity but for focus. Just checking distractions, she confessed later, voice laced with regret. The report landed like a rogue ball. Photos of Paisley and Everly at the beach, hands linked, timestamps from study groups aligning with studio hours. Elena confronted her over dinner. The report splayed on the table like evidence in a trial. Her. Elena's voice was a whisper knife. Not just dance, a girl? Shock ward with something softer, old wounds from her own closeted college flings, buried under cleats and bravado. Paisley froze, fork midway to mouth. Yeah, Mom. Her. I love her. The admission hung seismic. Elena's face crumpled. Not in revulsion but defeat. Love? At 16? This city's poisoned you, turning my fighter into this. She gestured vaguely, words failing. I thought it was rebellion. Not heartbreak waiting. It's not poison. It's real. Paisley's voice rose, echoing off the tiled walls. You act like love's a weakness. But it's the strongest thing I know. The fight spilled onto the balcony. Rain from an unseasonal squall pattering the railings. Elena leaned on the ironwork, staring at the port's twinkling lights. I was like you once. Loved a girl on the teammate. Secret practices turning to stolen kisses in the locker room. She left for the pros, I stayed, built walls. Soccer saved me from that pain. Vulnerability cracked her armor. A glimpse of the woman beneath the whistle. Paisley softened, stepping closer. Then why make me build the same walls? Ev, she sees all of me. Field and floor. Elena turned, eyes wet. Because losing hurts, Mija. And I'm scared you'll lose everything, her the game us. The Nationals loomed. A crucible in Valencia's sun-baked stadium. Paisley played possessed, channeling the rift into fury. A brace in the quarters, an assist in semis that sent Elena's team to the final. Crowds chanted Harlan. Harlan. Mother and daughter intertwined legacies. But victory tasted Pyrrhic. Everly's texts grew sparse, rehearsals strained by Paisley's exhaustion. You're a ghost here, Everly said one evening after a bungled adagio. Choose pious. Or lose us both. The ultimatum landed like a penalty kick. Paisley biked home through twilight streets alive with buskers and laughter. The decision coiling tighter. Elena was in the kitchen, chopping onions for tortilla. Knife rhythmic as a metronome. Good practice? She asked casual. Paisley set her bag down, point shoes peeking like contraband. Mom, I need to quit the team. After nationals. The knife stilled. Quit. We win this, scouts come calling. Your future. My future's not cleats. Paisley rushed on, words tumbling. It's dance. With Everly. I love her, Mom. And I love you. But I can't be your echo anymore. Elena's shoulders sagged. Onions forgotten. Echo? I'm trying to give you wings, not chains. But her voice broke, the coach yielding to the mother. I pushed because I failed you after Dad. Thought if I made you strong. You didn't fail. Paisley crossed the kitchen, tentative hug enveloping. You made me brave enough to choose. They stood there, rain drumming a lullaby, the first mending thread. Elena pulled back, wiping her eyes with a dish towel. Tell me about her. This Everly. Over chamomile, Elena's concession to softness, Paisley spilled. Everly's sketches, her laugh like harbor bells, the way she made Paisley feel infinite. Elena listened, a half smile emerging. Sounds like she gets you. More than I did lately. The final in Valencia was electric. Stadium pulsing with flags and flares, the air spiced with orange blossoms from nearby groves. Paisley started, Elena on the bench, eyes proud yet pained. The game was brutal. Mud-slick pitches from morning drizzle, tackles crunching like thunder. Paisley scored the winner. A header off a corner, diving like a dancer into the net. The whistle blew, confetti rained. Elena rushed the field, lifting her in a bear hug that smelled of turf and triumph. You were magic, Elena whispered amid the team's roar. But go. Fly your way. Back in Barcelona, the news spread like Sirocco winds. Madame Leclerc hooped at the studio, pairing Paisley full-time with Everly for an upcoming showcase. But joy cracked when Everly pulled away post-rehearsal, face pale under the mirrors. I got the letter. Joffrey acceptance for next fall. Paisley's world tilted. We talked about this. Together. Everly's eyes shimmered. It's New York, pious. Solo dorm, full ride. Your mom's finally on board with dance. Why chain you here? It's not chains. It's us. But doubt crept, Paisley's ankle still tender. Her half-built skills against Everly's polish. The kiss that followed was fierce, then farewell tinged. Bodies clinging as if to rewrite fate. That night, alone on the beach, Paisley hurled stones into the waves, each splash a what if. Elena found her there, thermos in hand. Hot chocolate. Old habit. They sat, shoulders touching. Heard about the letter. Tough break. Paisley nodded, throat tight. She's leaving. And part of me wants to beg her to stay. Elena sipped, staring at the horizon. Don't beg. Love doesn't chain, it lifts. Like that duet. You pulled each other higher. Dawn broke as Paisley decided. No chains. She'd auditioned to chase the dream on her terms. But betrayal lingered, not Everly's ambition, but the fear it unearthed. That love, like soccer, demanded sacrifice. Fall unfurled in Barcelona like a reluctant bloom. Leaves turning gold on the plane trees lining the Ramblas. air crisp with the promise of change. Paisley threw herself into auditions, mailing tapes to companies from London to Lincoln Center, each pirouette a plea to the lens. Everly's departure loomed, suitcases half-packed in her family's fisherman's flat near the docks, where the sea's rhythm mocked the ticking clock. One last dance, Everly proposed, booking the studio after hours for a private farewell. The night was theirs. Mirrors fogged from exertion, piano looping a mournful Chopin nocturne. They improvised, a contemporary elegy of loss and launch, bodies colliding then separating in sweeps of longing. Paisley's lifts grew bolder, Everly's extensions deeper, sweat tracing paths down spines like tears deferred. In the coda they collapsed together, chests heaving, foreheads touching. "I'll wait," Paisley lied, voice fierce. "Or follow. Whatever it takes." Everly's fingers threaded through her hair. "Don't wait. Live. That's what we promised, tides, remember? They always return." The kiss was a seal, tender and tearing, lips parting with the salt of goodbye. Outside, the port cranes groaned like weary giants, loading dreams onto ships bound for elsewhere. Elena, transformed sentinel, drove Paisley to the airport at dawn. L. Pratt's terminals humming with farewells. "Call when you land," she said, hugging Everly awkwardly, coach's grip firm, mother's heart soft. "Take care of my girl." Everly nodded, eyes bright. "Always." Watching the security line swallow her, Paisley felt the rip. A hollow in her ribs echoing the stadium's post-game quiet. Elena slung an arm around her shoulders. "Come on, Mija. Breakfast. Churros on me." They walked out into the Mediterranean light, Barcelona sprawling like an open hand. Months passed in a rhythm of reinvention. Paisley nailed an audition for a summer intensive in San Francisco, Elena's old stomping grounds, trading Catalan coasts for fog-shrouded bays. Letters from Everly arrived like lifelines. Sketches of Joffrey's studios, tales of blistered feet and breakthrough solos. "Miss your fire," one read, postscript. "Audition for fall. Join me." Paisley pinned them to her vanity, fuel for late-night rehearsals in rented spaces overlooking the Golden Gate. Elena, back with her team, evolved too, incorporating mindfulness drills, soft skills for her players, inspired by Paisley's grace. She visited San Francisco midsummer, the two hiking the headlands, wind whipping their hair as seals barked below. "Proud of you," Elena said, unprompted, over clam chowder and sausalito. "For choosing hard." Paisley leaned into her, the rift scarred but healed. "Proud of us." The climax came in autumn, a joint showcase. Joffrey's understudies in New York, Paisley's intensive troupe guesting. Everly had pulled strings, a duet slot in the program. Tides revisited. The Joyce Theater thrummed, Manhattan's pulse syncing with Paisley's nerves. Backstage, Everly waited, transformed, poised, professional, yet her eyes lit the same for Paisley. "You came," Everly breathed, pulling her into the wings. Couldn't not. Their hug lingered, worlds colliding in cotton and corset. The performance was catharsis. Updated choreography, waves now projected as city lights, symbolizing bridges built over oceans. Paisley and Everly danced as equals. Lifts seamless, spins synchronized, the betrayal of distance transmuted into harmony. A final tableau. Hands extended, not grasping but open, trust incarnate. The ovation crashed like applause at Camp Nou, but sweeter, earned from souls bared. After, in a dim afterparty at a Soho loft, Elena cornered them, champagne flute in hand. "That was you two. Real magic." She clinked glasses, a toast to fractures mended. "Don't let go of each other or this." Everly glanced at Paisley, question in her gaze. "Acceptance came yesterday. For me here." Paisley's heart soared, the tide turning. But humanism tempers happily ever. Scars remain. Paisley chose Joffrey too, but not without cost. Elena's team faltered without her. A reminder that choices ripple. Everly and Paisley navigated the grind. Blisters shared, critiques weathered. Love deepening in quiet apartments overlooking the Hudson. Elena visited, coaching from afar, her texts blending tactics with tenderness. Dig deep, but breathe easy. Years later, at a gala in Barcelona, full circle, the Teatre del Raval restored. They danced professionally, Elena in the front row, eyes misty. Paisley caught her gaze, midgete. A nod across lights and lives. The girl who'd hidden slippers and socks had become a principal. Everly her artistic soulmate. Elena their fiercest ally. In the afterglow on the same beach where promises were forged, Paisley traced Everly's palm under starlight. We made it. Everly smiled, waves lapping agreement. Tides always do. And in that humanistic grace, flawed, fierce, enduring, they found home.